what's up? This is Nick with Ultimate Motorcycling, and today we just got done riding the brand new 2024 Yamaha MT-09 SP. Of course, you guys know what the MT-09 is. This is Yamaha's, I would say, one of their most popular motorcycles, and in the United States, one of the most popular middleweight motorcycles for good reason. It's always expressed great performance, great value, and let's be honest, man, this thing is just fun. That's the bottom line. Now, we are talking about the SP model. That said, this is really based on the most recent update to the MT-09 platform, which we just got this year, which included updates to the chassis, a couple updates to the engine that included some updates to the gear ratios. Of course, we got these acoustic amplifiers here to get you a little bit more airbox noise and things like that. And also the air intake funnels themselves went down from 3 to 2, and some new fuel tuning accompanying that. Now, what comes with the SP? In a nutshell, you guys are getting brand new KYB suspension, fully adjustable with high and low speed compression. You're also getting a fully adjustable Öhlins shock that has this handy dandy remote preload adjuster. Those are some pretty impressive upgrades right off the bat that are really going to improve the chassis overall.
Another noteworthy change that is brought to us by the 2024 platform update and carries over to the SP variant is the more aggressive riding position. Essentially, the handlebar is mounted a bit lower, while the rear sets are kicked up and back a bit. Much like the suspension tweaks, these changes might sound like they'd make things a little too sporty for the road. The reality is both MT-09s are more comfortable for those changes, and arguably we're also getting better front end feel by being drawn closer to the bike's nose. The only minor hiccup is that the passenger foot pegs can conflict with the rider's heels, but they're removable, so it's not a big deal anyway. All right, back to North Carolina.
Now, the other upgrades for the SP model that you're not going to see in the standard model are, of course, electronic updates. You're getting track modes that you have 4 adjustable track modes. They're customizable. You can do whatever you want with them. That's in accompaniment to the standard modes that are on the base model. Now, realistically, you can change a lot of different variables, and they've added a couple of more electronic features to it. You also have engine braking management, which is basically just changing from a standard engine braking mode to a light engine braking mode. And of course, you also have 2 ABS modes that are on the standard model, but you now get a rear ABS off. Of course, that pushes this bike in a much more hardcore, aggressive riding direction. Now, I've given you the basic overview of this thing, and you guys can also see that the SP has a model-specific livery, along with some more premium finishes for your $1,700 over the base model. But what I want to talk about first is the engine. Okay, so we know it's that 890cc triple cylinder engine, and this thing, even back to the OG MT-09, which of course this is a punched out version of that, it retains that character. It is a lot more classy. It still has that punk rock attitude. You still get really, really solid mid-range and top-end power. And there is some perceptible low-end torque, but of course it's a triple we're talking about. It's not about all low-end. That mid-range, that is what's up. We rode the tail of the Dragon. Of course, you guys are gonna know what that is a lot of the time. And on a road like that, in sporting conditions, this thing absolutely rips. Tons of character, tons of pull, and you can really put it wherever you want. Now, we have established the fact that with the 24 update, that second gear lull that we're seeing in a lot of different engines this year, it's an emissions related sort of a flat spot, yeah, is guilty of that. So if you're an MT-09 SP or MT-09 owner, what are you gonna do? Well, you flash it. You put a pipe on it, you make it sound even cooler than it already does. Job done. Moving on to that, we've talked about the engine. Of course, you know, the main things that really draw us to the MT-09 SP, it's going to be the suspension. Ride quality has improved by a significant margin over the KYB stuff that is on the base model bike. And it's not just ride quality, it's going to be stability as well. It's also going to be small bump absorption, things of that nature, where it's able to negotiate all of the bumps and bruises of the road. You know, we're riding the tail of the Dragon, which is just immaculately paved, but a lot of the stuff here in North Carolina, Tennessee area, yeah, a bit abused, kind of like Southern California. The bike is able to handle a lot of that stuff to a much higher degree than the base model bike. Not that the base model bike suspension is terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but this is a significant step up, and you can see why. One, you have more adjustment, so you have a greater range of control to tune it for you. You also have right there, those DLC coated stanchions, it's just gonna be less restrictive. You're not gonna have as much stiction. The valving is also beefed up to help absorb that stuff, and the spring rates are a bit heavier, which you might think, it's gonna be too sporty. And my one sort of observation about the previous gen MT-09 SP is that you did sacrifice some comfort. I don't think you do that here. I think this is actually the MT-09 to own because you get those upgrades with the chassis. Now, following all that logic, in a sporting condition, is it a better bike? Yes, it is, because you get better hold up on the brakes, under acceleration, things of that nature. It just kind of takes that super moto-y attitude that the MT-09 has always had. It's a little bit waggy as you kind of lift up the front end, get a little bit loose and fun, but it is reining that aspect in. So again, I've always said that the MT-09 kind of has a punk soul, and this expands on that. It makes it more refined. It doesn't take, you know, its Liberty spikes totally out of the picture, but it is cleaning it up a bit. And that's for the good thing. That's really for the better. It's making it a better riding experience. You can ride harder, ride more aggressively, and ride more confidently. Great there. Now, as far as the electronics go, you are getting that additional feature with the engine braking mode. Having tested it today, the light engine braking mode and the standard, I would still run the standard. It's gonna have a little bit more engine braking to help you come into those corners, get you slowed down a little bit more. And I think in a racetrack scenario, that could be useful with the light engine braking mode, especially if you're trying to, you know, reduce rear wheel hop, things of that nature. But overall, these are all things that are helping push this bike in a more aggressive direction. Now, the last thing to talk about, of course, is a big braking upgrade. We have gotten rid of those classic Advix calipers, which are kind of a staple in a lot of ways. Love them, hate them, whatever. Now we have Brembo Stylemas. Top of the consumer market for us at the moment. Braking feel, I would say, is improved over the base model bike. There's still a bit of squish in there, and I blame that on the rubber hoses. You're getting a bit more bang for the buck.
Now, the real advantage with the Brembo Stylema calipers over the Advix is the fact that they have better heat management properties. That comes down to larger pistons and, of course, larger openings to help cool the pads. You're not going to be getting any brake fade when you're riding more aggressively or at the racetrack, which you'd be silly not to do on the SP.
So, do you buy the MT-09 or the MT-09 SP for an additional $1,700? Every day, I go for the MT-09 SP. Why? You get more performance, you get more control, you get more stability, you get more electronic aids, you get better braking. Now, I'm Nick with Holton Motorcycling. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them down below. We'll get you some answers. Now, I gotta do something very important. I need to go and eat all of the ice cream ever at our hotel. So, see you guys later.